told you that joy isn't about what's happening around you. It's truly about what's inside of you, the spirit inside of you and your connection to God. That is the only type of joy that is unshakable. Do you wonder why your happiness is just so fleeting? Like you have a good day, a bad day, a good day, a bad day. And it's like a never ending cycle of these ups and downs. It just feels like a roller coaster. I'm not going to lie. That's how I lived most of my life until I really dug in my word and I figured out the real meaning of joy. What is joy and how do you stay connected and how is it not fleeting just based on everything that's kind of going on around you? I'm super excited about this episode just because this is something that a lot of people are struggling with right now. There's a lot going on in the world. A lot of people are struggling financially. A lot of people have been laid off. A lot of people are concerned about what's going on in the government. But I choose to not concern myself with these things. And that doesn't mean just don't pay attention and, to anything that's going on, because obviously we want to be informed, right? But at the same time, we cannot let these things super consume us to the point where we feel like we're on an emotional roller coaster. Like we can't keep our joy together. And when joy comes from God and it comes from the Spirit, it cannot be shaken. It cannot be taken from you. We have to realize that the enemy, what he really wants is to snatch. He wants to steal, kill, and destroy, right? So if he knows that your joy is based on circumstances, if he knows that your joy is really hidden in, if your bills get paid on time or whatever the case may be, he's going to rattle you in all the ways that are around you, all of your circumstances. He's going to really take a stab at that. So we have to find our joy through God and we have to keep it that way. Welcome back to Fine Kind of Divine. My name is ZJ. I'm super excited to be here. Per usual, we are on part 4 of regaining your power through God. And I just felt like, I'm not going to lie, I switched it up a little bit. I had something else planned for this episode, but just talking to people on a daily basis, just kind of seeing like how people are so drained. Like you can see it all in their face. You can see it in people's demeanors. People just seem really tired. And since this is something that I figured out just by having, I would say, the most trying 2 years of my life, the answers are truly in the Bible. That's why it's so important for you to pick up your Bible and find the keys to life because they are there. And through the Bible and just through my own experiences and my own testimony, I was able to learn how to hold on to my joy no matter what is happening around me and not constantly be on a roller coaster that's just like taking me up and down. You're down and now you have to recover. Now you're up and it feels really good, but it only lasts for a day or two. And then you're down again. You have to feel like, I need to recover from this. I need to recoup. There's no way we can remain steadfast if we're constantly going up and down. And it's really strenuous as well, like on your heart, on your soul, on your mental. Like it just feels like heavy because you're constantly having to recoup from being down here. So I hope this episode helps so many people out there. Just hold on to your joy and just kind of redeem yourself through God and just hold on to it. Okay, so if you're new here, this podcast is where faith gets raw and culture gets called out. So basically, we get real raw about our journey. I get real raw about my testimony and the things that I've gone through in order to maybe assist someone who, isn't there yet, in order to just enhance the journey for somebody who is already a deep believer. Any person is welcome here. I would love to grow with everybody watching this podcast. This is not me speaking at anybody. I'm learning just along with everybody else. However, I do have so many supernatural experience that proves that God is just so, so, so good. And I'm just so thankful for the testimony that he's given me and the voice that he's given me to help other people. And by any means is this episode to say that you're supposed to always pretend like everything is okay. That's absolutely not what I'm saying because I know things cannot be okay. It's not about that. It's just about holding on to your joy and your peace anyway. And of course, obviously, easier said than done, right? It's something that can easily come out of my mouth, but how do you actually obtain it? It takes practice. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not something that you can snap your fingers and say, this is what I'm going to do today and I'm going to hold on to my joy and that's it. No, you're going to be tested. As soon as you grasp this theory, it's going to be tested. Anything that you pick up from the word, evil intention always follows when you want to set yourself straight with God, when you want to set your spirit right. So just be ready for that. And we have to be strong. And I know sometimes you're tired of being strong. I get it. There's a lot of times in these past 2 years where I was just tired of being strong, and I just wanted to crumble. But at the end of the day, we have to realize that we are always okay because God is faithful and He is with us. And that's where the joy has to come from. And if you keep it that simple, just knowing everything can be in pure chaos, but I have my God, you will be fine. And He will get you through your circumstance. It might not be directly on your timing, but He's going to get you through. You have to really just have faith in that. And through that faith, through that relationship, you're able to cultivate something that is unshakable, a happiness that the opposition cannot steal from you. Even if you fall short temporarily, maybe you have a bad day, maybe you have a bad experience, you can easily bounce back because you're reminding yourself, I have God. God has planted the spirit within me. This spirit governs me. I'm going to be okay. I have Him. He's with me. He never leaves me. Even if I'm going through adversity, He's still here. So let's talk about the actual meaning of joy, because obviously the world and God have two different definitions. I'm going to read a quick verse to y'all. Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. I don't know if I said I read Galatians, both 22 and 23, but yes, that was both. So what does that mean? So the world says joy is a feeling, right? But God says joy is a fruit of His Spirit. And how do we stay close to that? How do we tune into that spirit that He's placed within us? It really comes from abiding. And what is abiding? Abiding means being obedient to what God is asking us to do. And what does that mean? It means to demonstrate the characteristics of Jesus, and how Jesus is in the Bible, and how forgiving He is, how understanding He is, how patient He is, how He just kind of like doesn't judge anyone. He's not here to condemn. He's here to save. And so there are so many things that, Jesus is an example of. But since Jesus is so in tune with the laws, with what God is asking Him to do, He didn't ask any questions. God asked Him to do something. He went, He did His job. He didn't have any questions about it. And that's what happened. We just touched on Galatians 22-23. I'm just going to brush over my notes here because I don't want to miss anything. Basically, like I was saying, there is a worldly definition of joy, right? That definition is always tied to something. It's always tied to having enough money. It's always tied to having enough success. It's always tied to something that sometimes you don't have any control over. So God's definition is joy is a fruit of His Spirit. So basically, even when your circumstances change, it's really not about what you have, but it's literally about who you have, as I said earlier. So I'm going to read another verse, John 15:11. I have told you this so my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. Basically, what I got from this verse when I really broke it down is that, like, our joy is complete just because we have God on our side. And the thing about it is we get so far from joy when we sin over and over and over and do the things that He's asking us not to do. That puts us further away, and that's why we feel unhappy, like we have to grasp onto something, whether that's success, whether that's a relationship, whatever the case may be. We feel like without those things, we are nothing, when indeed that is not true. God loves us literally how we are, and He loves us no matter what. Now, that doesn't mean He does not change you. That doesn't mean that He's not going to transform you. That doesn't mean that He wants you to stay the same. He wants you to continuously seek so that your heart changes, so that you change. He's not going to just accept any type of behavior. And I think that's something that kind of goes over people's heads. They think, oh, I can kind of live how I want to live, but I can still have permanent joy. No, not necessarily. There's a supernatural thing that kicks in when you seek God and you actually obey him, it's almost like he handles the rest for you. It's almost like he restores joy for you. It's something that you cannot do on your own. So it's not something you can go out and just continue to, run after money, continue to run after that relationship, continue to run after that promotion. You can very much so get all of those things and still experience no joy because you're actually idolizing things that can be taken away from you. And nobody can take the joy of your spirit that God gave you away. It's just something that he planted in us, and that's something that no one can take from you. They can't take away your relationship with God. So no matter if you feel like everything is falling apart, you can rest assured that just because you're imperfect, just because your finances aren't lined up to the T exactly how you want it, God still loves you and he's still there for you, and he's still your place of refuge. He's still that one that you go and seek when you don't have the answers. And there's a lot of times where we don't have the answers. And I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's uncomfortable. Trust me, like I've been there a billion times. You just don't, we as humans, we just don't know what to do all the time. But we have to really rest in him and just understand that anything that he's not given us is for a reason, and anything that he does give us is for a reason. So there's some type of reason why you're in this circumstance, even if it's adversity. That you being in some type of adversity could be to make you a better person, or it can be for you to go through something and help somebody else through it. Like, we don't see it in that moment, but trust me, there is a reason for it. So just knowing that, even when things are bad, even when you feel like, oh, I'm just so tired of this, realize that God is using that moment for a reason, because your story is already written before you were even born. So just realize everything is going to be okay. Like, literally, everything is going to be okay. This story that you're going through, this timeline, how everything was built out for you, the story is already done. That's what a lot of people don't understand. So it's going to work out how it's supposed to work out. And even though it's uncomfortable in the moment and you don't have it figured out, this is all a testimony, because most of the time what happens is when we truly believe and we find our joy through just having faith, he works it out and gives us something better. So no matter if it's something that you currently don't have or you're striving for, maybe that's not your story. Maybe he's trying to give you something completely different, but you don't know that when you're sitting in the suffering. So what you have to do is rid yourself as much as you can of that suffering and just rest and find peace in the fact that God already has it worked out for your greater good. But you have to really believe that, though, like not in a way that you're just saying it, but like genuinely believe it so that it can bring you peace and take away whatever, internal conflict you're having, whatever anxiety that you're having. You have to really truly believe and have that faith. And the way we strengthen that faith is in so many ways. I'll get into that a little bit later, but I just kind of wanted to really break that down. Okay, y'all, as you can see, we do have a special guest. She woke up from her nap, but the enemy will not stop this episode. I feel like this is one of the ones that I just have to keep going, because it's so important. And as I said before, just a little bit ago, when you are trying to do something good that is in alignment with God, the opposition will do something to throw you off every single time. So just expect that. Even when we started this podcast, like at the beginning of the year in January, when I, started it with my really good friend, we would see things that were kind of strange. Like, I remember one time we recorded an entire episode and everything was good. We watched it back and everything. And then, I don't know, like a couple of days later, the episode was completely vanished, like just not there at all. I remember one time we had one similarly, the sound was there. We watched it and then there was something with the sound distortion. Like, I'm telling you, the enemy is real. So you have to realize that this is a battle between us and oppositional spirits. Like, so when you're going through things, these are the enemy's, the schemes that are trying to throw us off. So if you're going through something hard, you have to just identify it. That is trying to throw you off of your closeness with God, so that everything else can follow and be in chaos. Because once the enemy takes over our emotions, our mental, whatever he wants to grasp onto because of our circumstances, that's when things get a lot worse, because we're allowing those things to kind of drive us apart from God. And he's the one who keeps us in perfect peace, just knowing that we have him. So yeah, I just wanted to go into story time real quick, and just to give you an example of the supernaturalness of what I'm talking about. Now, if you have not had your own experience with God to where you feel like you had no idea how something worked out in your favor or worked out in general, or the answer has come to you when you just simply did not know what to do, I'm telling you, your time is coming. He will show himself through some type of experience if you stay close to him. If you try to align your heart with his by being that person that God has called you to be, a person of integrity, a person that is a servant, a person that is really seeking him in the kingdom and really trying to spend time with him in prayer and through other things. Once you start doing that, unlocking supernatural is a real thing. So I just want to share a little bit about my story from this year. Like I said, this year has been one of the toughest years of my life. I gave birth, and I'm not going to go into super detail, but basically there was a circumstance between me and my husband, and we decided to separate. I went to live with my mom for a bit, and he found somewhere like a temporary living situation, Airbnb type deal near his job, because he had just got a new position. And we were just, I don't know how to explain, but like the enemy was attacking our relationship so hard to the point where we couldn't even get along, like at all, in any way, shape, or form, even attacking us through other family members, like family members coming at the relationship in a certain way that was just so unbearable. It was, kind of ripping us apart. And how do I explain this? I was at a very hopeless stage. I really allowed the enemy to super penetrate my mind. And, the only thing that was keeping me going is that this baby right here. Knowing that I was a new mom, knowing that I had to be there for her, just knowing that I couldn't just give up on life or whatever the case may be, just because everything seemed hard. And I was also postpartum. So basically, I was already going through emotions that come with that, hormones all over the place. It was just a lot, to say the least. And it seemed like no matter how hard we tried to fix things, we just couldn't be peaceful around each other. It was just not good in any way, shape, or form. And just having a newborn in that situation just made the situation feel like 1,000 times heavier, because if you watch this show, you know how big I am on families staying together, right? You know how big I am on the covenant of marriage and how important that is. Like, all of these things are my strongest, oh man, one of the strongest things that I believe in. I believe that the family is something that God uses as an example to show society what love really looks like. Went through that situation. Anytime we tried to even fix things, like I said, it would just make it worse. Like, every time we got together, for him to come over and like maybe give me a little bit of relief with the baby, or, whenever he can, before or after work, whatever he can do to come and relieve me, he was doing that. And we couldn't even get along during those times. And it was just a lot. It was truly something that I can't explain when it comes to emotions. It just felt completely awful. It felt like I don't even know how to explain. But long story short, this is one of those situations that I had to trust in my faith and just kind of let go, because every attempt that we both made to fix it ourselves did not work. And you can very much so be caught in these situations where nothing you do is actually helping the situation. You cannot figure it out. And I just literally gave it to God. I said, God, I'm leaving this at your feet. I'm trying to solve it myself. I don't have the power you have the power. I want you to have your will and your way with this situation. And sure enough, he had his will and his way, and he mended the situation into something that is extremely healthy, something that is, oh man, the family unity is just amazing. He really worked in ways that neither one of us can do on our own. He ironed out the situation. He made peace between us. He just did. When he says a peace that surpasses all understanding, from going to that chaos to where we are today, I honestly I can't explain how it happened. I don't know. All I know is that I left it at Jesus' feet. I stopped trying so hard to fix things myself because I thought I had the power. I thought that I could, you know, do these things and say these things and that we can spend time together and everything would be okay. But the matter of the fact is that maybe possibly I was idolizing the situation. Maybe I was putting, my husband or whatever before God. I feel like it was something like that, to where maybe I was practicing idolatry or something of the sort. And he had to really break that and set it up the correct way. But in order for him to do his job, we had to let go and let him do his work. And that's exactly what we did. We both prayed, we both sought, we both got in our Bibles, we both used God to really fight our battles, and we ended up landing on our feet. And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Nobody's going to understand, right? There's so many people who don't believe in the supernatural factor of what God can do for you. But at the end of the day, if you believe, if you trust, there is a supernatural that takes over. And it is something that is so powerful that you might not even understand how that happened. For instance, I'll give you another example. I know someone very close to me who was about to lose their vehicle. And they had been talking about just struggling with God, like struggling to pray, like the enemy keeps distracting them. I don't know, like why I can't get closer to God. Every time I go to pray, like I just can't. Like every time I go to try to solve something, I just can't ask God for help. I feel like I'm too far gone, blah, blah, blah. Once she came back to God and let go of whatever guilt, whatever shame, whatever that she was holding on to that was keeping her from God, she prayed about everything. I told her to leave everything at his feet. Tell me why the exact amount that she was looking for, she got a settlement for this amount for some lawsuit that happened, I don't know, maybe 10, 13 years ago. A check in the mail coming from that lawsuit saying, oh, we still owed you more. And it was the exact amount that she needed to get her car kept. And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It's hard for people to believe that do not have their own experiences, right? But you have to take other people's testimonies as face value, because those people who are telling you that God works miracles, they are very serious. They have had their own experience. But in order to get yours, you have to keep your joy, know that God is with you, and don't let the circumstances consume you to the point where you can't hear God, where you can't communicate with him, where you can't seem to grasp him. Just know that he is there. And if you seek him, if you pray and you spend time with him, he will work on your behalf and supernatural things will start to happen. And I know I keep saying the same thing, and I know this probably sounds repetitive, but I needed somebody to tell me this over the past 2 years when I felt completely hopeless, like nothing that I did mattered, like I wasn't making leeway in any area of my life. So yeah, I just have to keep reiterating that. I definitely want to go over a few more things, so just stay tuned. And I know I mentioned this same verse on either the episode before this or the one before that, but we have to always tie it back to Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So when we do give it to him, when we do leave things at his feet, when we do understand that we don't have the control and we ask God to take the wheel, like, God, I don't know what to do. I'm feeling these type of ways. I need you to take the wheel. Sometimes it comes to the point where I'm like, God, I actually don't know why I feel like this. There's nothing there's nothing particular going on today that would make me feel sad. I just do. Like, I just do feel that way. I don't feel like myself. I feel like that is a direct attack of the enemy on your emotions, on your mental. And it's something that I have to ask God. I'm like, hey, I need help because I'm not sure exactly why I'm having these feelings. But even just before I record this, I feel like I get attacked all the time. I get really tired. I get to where I don't want to get up out of the bed. It's just like a feeling that, oh, I don't feel like doing this, even though the day before I'm pumped because I'm like, oh, I get to help people. This is going to be so great. I have the episode all planned out. I can't wait to make an impact. But then the day of, I get that feeling. So you have to realize that joy is constantly attacked. And so we have to always fight back. When he knows where you're getting your joy from, if it's not from God, if it's not something that is unshakable, like your relationship with God, he's going to attack it. And then he knows shortly after you're going to be in shambles after he attacks what you're constantly trying to hold on to or what you're constantly obsessing about. You can very much so love God and still wake up tired. You can still be hopeless, feeling hopeless. You can still have your bad days, but that doesn't mean that you have lost faith. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It means that you are in a battle. And you need to recognize when you're in one and learn how to fight back. And how do you do that? You declare God's word over yourself. You read his word. You pray. You ask God to help you. Hey, I'm falling short right now. I know this is not how I'm supposed to be living. I know this is not how I'm supposed to be feeling. Can you take over here? Can you restore my joy? And when I was going through what I was going through, and even before that, it was, financial issues. It's always going to be something, right? That's trying to throw us off. But I used to ask God, can you restore my joy? Because I don't know where I left it and I don't know how to find it. And I was so honest with him. And this is how I began to learn about how to be unshakable through him. And I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the easiest process in the world. This is something that you have to truly practice. You have to talk to yourself. You have to declare God's verses over your life. You have to sit there and be intentional about this. It's not something that's just going to switch overnight. You have to fight back and you have to spend time with him. You have to really put your effort towards telling yourself the same Bible verses over and over, like, repeating them, waking up and saying them, posting them somewhere in your house, on your phone, making sure you open up the Bible app, whatever you need to do. I would say the most important time of day is the morning, because if you don't start your day with God, it can get chaotic real quick. And I don't miss a beat when it comes to the morning, like, unless I'm just like, I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I have my days where I might just be rolling out of bed to do something and I forget. But those are the days that I get attacked the most, when I don't start my day with him. Notice the attacks. Very, very important. It could be bills. It can be delays and something that you want right now. It can be heartbreak. I'm just listing off the stuff that I've gone through because I didn't want to forget. Circumstances are going to shake you or try to, but they should never completely take your joy away. Your joy does not come from the things of the world. Your joy comes from being connected with God. So just remember that. So there's the supernatural exchange that I was just talking about. So basically what God does is replace your pain with joy. He is the only one that's able to do that for you. Sometimes it's something that you truly cannot do for yourself. And there's also a power that you unlock when you praise and practice joy when you're in the middle of lack. That goes further than you praising when you're actually in abundance and you have every possible thing that you want and need. So God hears you loud and clear when you're actually praising him in the midst of what you don't have. So it's almost like practicing gratitude even though everything is not perfect. And so just with saying that alone, let's tie it into Philippians 4:4-7. Rejoice in the Lord always, and the peace of God will guard your hearts and minds. I'm pretty sure that's not the whole 4-7, but I think that's just the points that I took from it. Basically, Joy doesn't mean that you're ignoring your struggle. It just means that you have decided in the midst of that struggle that it will not control you. You are deciding that that is just, you're not willing to give yourself over and let the enemy consume you. You're just not willing to do it. And like I said, it's a fight, and you have to realize that it's not going to always be comfortable or easy. So I just want to give, just to wrap it up, just a few practical things that we can do on a daily basis, right? Just to make sure that our spirits and our habits are aligned when life gets real, like when when stuff hits the fan. So obviously we seek God. Stop chasing things that can change. You need to be chasing God, like chasing a relationship with Him. You need to seek. That means you need to get real comfortable with that word and like actually try to dig in it, figure out what it means, break it down if you don't understand. I find myself looking up so many words because I'm like, what does that mean? Well, I'm kind of reading over it and I'm like, okay, I read that, but I have no idea what it's talking about. Let me go deeper. Let me actually look this up to see what it means, because sometimes even that's a discouragement. You don't understand what the Bible is saying. Like you truly just, you read it, but you didn't retain it. And most of the time, it could be worded a certain way that you don't understand, but make sure you dig deeper. Look into it. If it's a word you don't understand, try to look up what that word means so you can understand the full sentence. Number 2, guard your thoughts. So Philippians 4:8, think on what is true, noble, and pure. What does that mean? You're focusing on God's word. You're focusing on what He told us. What did He tell us? He said, if we seek Him, everything we need will follow. He told us that He is working on our behalf for our greater good. He told us that our joy is complete in Him. These are facts. This is not up for debate. Like, you have to really remember these things when you are, where are you trying to go, ma'am? I'm just trying to figure it out. Really remember these things. Very important. Number 3, stay grateful even in lack. And we just talked about that. Normally we wake up and we immediately think about what we're missing, or what don't we have, or what are the worries of today. What if you woke up and say, God, thank you for simply having, I wake up and I say, God, thank you for having 10 fingers and 10 toes. Thank you that I'm waking up in the bed with my family. Thank you that my daughter is healthy. She has everything she needs. She's fed. Thank you that we have a home. Thank you that we have enough food in the fridge. Thank you that we have a vehicle. Thank you for protecting us overnight. Like, just those are like just random things, but how many things is that just off the top of your head? Thank you that we have good health and a sound mind. Thank you that, I don't know, there's so many things. Like, we're not going without. We're not, thank you that I'm not sick. Thank you that my parents are still alive. Like, there's so many things that we have to be grateful for, but our mind wants to immediately wake up and think about what's wrong. And that's what puts you in a dark place already to begin with, before your day even starts. So really try to stay grateful and declare these things, because you seeing your cup half full instead of half empty sets you up to have a successful day and experience God's presence and not think about those things. Also, the last thing is speak life over your situation. So Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue. So even when you're feeling pain, speak joyful things over your life. Don't speak things, and this is one of the things that's, oh my God, it's so hard for me to break that habit of just complaining, but on accident. Like, you don't think about it, but I'm just not feeling it today. Like, you're gonna keep attracting not feeling it, because you're speaking that over yourself. I'm just not feeling it. Like, I'm just not in the mood. Like, these are things that are, you think are small, but we're speaking these things over ourselves. So just kind of like watch what you say. Heaven responds to faith-filled words. So just try to be grateful, and just speak positivity, speak good verses over your life. So I'm just going to let y'all know the kind of things that I tell myself, because we can easily fall into, just any type of financial issues. I think financial issues is like the number one thing that gets people really upset nowadays. What are you talking about? I think that's the number one thing that really gets people down. Okay. Do you have to tell the people something too? Okay. She got a message for y'all. But you are not defined by your credit score. You are not defined by. Oh man, here. Is it still on? Okay. So, just to kind of wrap it up, just understand, just to keep things simple, you are not defined by the things that society wants us to be defined by. You're not defined by your credit score. You're not defined by the amount of followers that you have. You're not defined by your position at work. You're not defined by anything that is worldly. Your definition of who you are and your identity comes from what God thinks of you. God thinks very highly of us, even if we fall short. I'm not saying that you have an excuse to not be better in God's eyes, but what I'm saying is that He has such a deep love for us. He has sacrificed His one and only Son for us. We are the world to Him. So you have to realize that all of these things that, success, where you are in your social status, like, yes, people do care about these things. I learned that the closer that I get to God, the more that I just simply do not care. Like, when I say God will transform you, He will make you a person that does not care about the things of the world so much that you get your joy back, because you're not consumed with the noise. You're not consumed about being perfect. You're not consumed with how much money you have in your bank account. Like, those things don't define you. You have to also be careful about who you surround yourself with, because sometimes people will try to make you feel bad about just where you are in life if you're not at the milestones that they have set for you. But just really, when people are speaking to you in those ways, when you feel like you're getting judgment, when you feel like that people are making you feel like that you're not good enough, that you're not far enough along, that you're not where you need to be for your age, just remember that God has the final say so, and that your validation needs only to come from Him. And that's another way just to hold on to that joy. I really hope you guys got a lot out of this episode. This is something that it has taken me years to learn. And I will sit in your presence and say today that I am such a joyful person. No, every day is not perfect, but when I feel something coming over me, I pray about it. I ask God to change how I feel. I ask Him to come and to help me in areas that I'm struggling with. I ask Him to purge all of the bad habits that I have, everything that makes me feel weighed down, all the mistakes I've made, maybe how bad I feel about them. I bring them to God. I leave it at His feet. I let Him do His thing. And 9 times out of 10, He allows me to get up with joy in my heart every morning and start over and feel good about myself because of how He feels about me. And just to end us off, I definitely have to end us off in prayer per usual. God, I thank you for this glorious day. Every day that you give us is such a miracle. Every day that you give us has purpose rooted so deeply inside of it. I pray that you restore the joy of every single person watching this. I pray that you allow them to open up after this episode and be very, very vulnerable with you, and to allow you in. And just, I hope that they just pour everything that is weighing them down onto your feet and realize that you have the supernatural power to make things okay. Maybe not in the exact ways that they expected, but in the way that you have written already for us. I thank you for just allowing me to use this platform that you've blessed me with. I pray that everybody on the other side really seeks you to unlock the next level of their self, the next level of their life, just the next level of shedding off any depression, any heaviness, any shame, any guilt, any stress, anything that they might be stressing out about or consumed with. I pray that you just remove it from them. I pray that you replace all of their pain and trauma and things that they can't fix on their own. I pray that you replace it with daily joy. And I pray that you help them to realize that our joy lies within you. I pray that you protect them from the attacks, the schemes, the plans of the enemy. And I pray that you help us all to realize that you gave us dominion and we can command all of these oppositional spirits, all of these generational oppositional spirits, all of these curses traveling down from our ancestors. We can break this cycle. We can send these demons away because you gave us dominion, Lord. I thank you for everything. I thank you just for everybody tuning in today. And I pray that you really give them enough to go off and just be joyous within you. In the name of Jesus, amen. Thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you guys next week. I hope you got so much from this episode. If we have one more pre-planned episode of regaining your power through God, and then after that, I do want to open it up again to anything that you guys may need help with, anything that you might be struggling with. Feel free to comment. Already start commenting now, just to let me know. Let me know what we should talk about. I would love to open up some subjects that you guys need help with. I'm an open book. So comment below if you know somebody that is struggling with joy. If you need to send this to someone who maybe you can't get through to, or just send this to someone who seems down lately. Like I said, sometimes you can just see it in people's face. They're drained, they're tired. Check on the strong friend. Send this to the strong friend too. Sometimes we think that they have it all together and they simply don't. So yeah, send this to a friend, and I hope this helped you guys. I hope you have a great night. See you next time.